Let's be real, we all feel it, don't we? Every single day, that constant nagging battle for our own focus. In this explainer, we're going to dive deep into this attention crisis and figure out how we can start to reclaim our minds. Does this question just hit you right where you live? I mean, you're trying to work, but your phone is buzzing. You're trying to read a book, but you've got a dozen other tabs just screaming your name. That feeling? That feeling of your attention being totally shattered? It's not just in your head. It's kind of the defining condition of living in this digital world. Okay, this number is, well, it's pretty wild. It really gets at just how deep our need to avoid being bored has become. A study found that a whopping 67% of men would rather give themselves a mild electric shock than just sit alone with their own thoughts for 15 minutes. I mean, think about that. It shows this profound desire to escape our own minds, to find any distraction at all, even an unpleasant one. So what is going on here? Why is our attention so fragile all of a sudden? Well, it turns out it's not just one thing. It's a powerful combination of our own brain chemistry and, yeah, an entire economic model that's built to take advantage of it. You see, our brains aren't like a computer's fixed hardware. They're constantly being rewired by what we do. It's this amazing thing called neuroplasticity. So when we're constantly scanning social media, flipping between tasks and multitasking online, we're not just getting distracted in that moment. No, we are physically training our brains to prefer that state. And in the process, we're actually weakening the neural pathways we need for deep, sustained concentration. And here's the kicker. This isn't happening by accident, not at all. It's happening by design. These platforms all operate inside what we call the attention economy. And in this model, you're not the customer, you're the product. Your attention is the thing being sold to advertisers, which creates this massive financial incentive for them to keep you hooked for as long as humanly possible. So how do they do it? Well, they tap into one of the most fundamental reward systems we have in our brains, the dopamine cycle. And this isn't just about feeling good. It's about the wanting, the seeking, the anticipating. It's an incredibly powerful loop, and it's the very same one that behavioral addictions are built on. So let's break down how this loop actually works. First, it starts with a want, that little itch, that craving for some stimulation. That feeling drives us to seek it out by, opening an app. Then comes the anticipation, the little fantasy of what we might find, which, crazy enough, is often more stimulating than the reward itself. Then a trigger, like that little red notification dot, signals a reward is coming. And finally, the reward itself, a like, a comment, a new post. And because that reward is so unpredictable, the whole cycle becomes incredibly hard to resist. And you can see exactly how this cycle is engineered directly into the apps we use every day. Infinite scroll? It just removes any natural point to stop, so you just keep going. Notifications? They're the perfect, unpredictable trigger. And that pull to refresh gesture? It's literally designed to feel like pulling the lever on a slot machine. It taps directly into our brain's love for unpredictable rewards. So what's the big deal? We're a little distracted, so what? Well, the cost of this constant cognitive fragmentation is actually enormous. It affects not just our productivity, but our fundamental sense of well-being. We are losing our ability to do what the author Cal Newport calls deep work. You know that feeling, that state of flow where we do our best, most creative and valuable thinking? Instead, our days are just filled with shallow work, answering emails, reacting to messages, just bouncing between a million little tasks. We end up spending way more time doing less meaningful work, and we feel anxious and frustrated because of it. And the impact goes way beyond our jobs. Study after study finds a really significant link between problematic social media use and our mental health. That feeling of being constantly on, the endless social comparison, it's tied directly to higher rates of both depression and anxiety. Okay, so that's the problem. It's big, it's systemic, and it's by design. But, and this is the important part, we are not powerless. So let's talk about some real, concrete strategies for taking back our focus and our time. One really powerful strategy is called the digital declutter. Now, it's not about quitting technology forever. Think of it more like a 30-day reset. You take a break from all the non-essential tech in your life. During that time, you focus on high-quality, real-world activities. Then, at the end, you reintroduce technology, but way more intentionally, asking yourself if it truly adds value to your life. But, and this is a really important but, we have to be realistic. A simple detox isn't always a magic bullet. As this person points out, if you don't change the underlying habits, you might just swap one digital addiction for another. This just shows that it's not just about removing the bad stuff, it's about actively building up the good stuff. So instead, we have to be proactive. We have to build a fortress for our focus. Schedule deep work like it's the most important meeting of your day. Mute everything. Tell your colleagues you're offline. And hey, don't forget to manage the internal distractions too. Thanks to something called the Zeigarnik effect, our brains get stuck on unfinished tasks. So doing a quick brain dump of your to-do list before you start can work wonders to clear out that mental workspace. And finally, we can actually train our attention directly. Seriously, think of your ability to focus as a muscle. Things like focused attention meditation are like going to the gym for your brain. Every single time you notice your mind wandering and you gently bring it back, you're doing a rep. You're strengthening your ability to control your focus. You know, when you zoom out, all of these strategies really point to a much bigger shift. It's not about finding the perfect productivity hack. It's about changing our whole philosophy of how we use technology. This quote from author Nicholas Carr just nails it. We need to stop focusing only on the tools, the apps, the gadgets, and start asking about the end goal. These questions are the real starting point. What kind of life are we trying to build? Because when we use technology without asking these deeper questions, our priorities end up being shaped by the tools themselves, not by our own values. And that brings us to the final, critical question. Escaping technology completely, it isn't a realistic option for most of us. The challenge, then, is to live deliberately, to choose how we engage, to build systems that protect our focus, and to make sure that our tools are serving our values and not the other way around. The real question is, how can we use it without letting it use us?